Hello. We have another conjunct coming up on April 4th, whereas April 3rd was Mercury with Neptune. Then we have Jupiter conjunct Pluto on April 4th in Capricorn, and it's in its first decade. Now, actually, Jupiter conjunct Pluto has three decans. The first decan is when both Jupiter conjunct Pluto and both the planets Jupiter and Pluto go direct, and they go direct till April 14th. The second decan is June 30th, 2020. Both the planets go retrograde till July 8th. Then the third decan, which is its final, is on November 12th, and it stations direct while forming their final conjunctions till November 18th. Now, what does this conjunct of Jupiter with Pluto actually denote, or what impact it has? Is that Jupiter represents our expansive qualities and our abilities to improve ourselves. It's a planet of plenty, abundance, and seeks insight through knowledge. It's the planet of possibility. A well aspected Jupiter is normally associated with good luck, and in more negative associations with blind optimism, excess, and overindulgence. Now, in your chart, you need to know which house your Jupiter is and what impact it has on you personally, which part of your life it impacts. So, Jupiter reveals how you express your sense of giving and tolerance and how you go about improving your life. Your overly self secure mode of interacting disguises some deep distrust of your own foundations. Behind your flamboyance and manipulative assertions are some profound insecurities. When you come to terms with your own weaknesses and see them as not so profound or bad, you will simultaneously become more open and acknowledging of other people's values and points of views. This lays the foundation to your vast insight and expanse of vision in a very, very positive, diverse way of making you realize that these planets have an effect on our psyche, and these planets come at a time which is actually required for us to balance our behaviors or our surroundings so that the earth is more balanced and you can actually be more productive. And both, when you balance with Mother Nature, both are winners. Every 3 years or so, Jupiter will transit conjunct, square, or opposite a natal planet. When the natal planet is Sun, Moon, Ascendant, Mercury, Venus, or Mars, we feel the effects in a very personal way, depending on where the planet is situated in your natal chart. Now, the contact with Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are felt over longer periods. Now, I'm going to explain to you what is the interpretation of Jupiter transit when it's conjuncting Pluto. Situations that encourage expressions of power may emerge during this time, and you may find yourself engaged in significant struggles that consume you. You tend to emerge victorious, especially if you know what you want without equivocation. Those problems that are firmly rooted, however, may intensify, forcing you to deal with them. The opportunity exists not only to face ingrained issues, but also to alter them for the better, perhaps even to eliminate them altogether. Now, this is a cycle where you can initiate changes that have an enduring effect. You may have experiences that leave an indelible impression upon you and serve as a catalyst for taking steps, even extreme measures, to transform what has outlived its usefulness. You can grow exceptionally strong by planting the right seeds now. This is a time where the environment is conducive for increasing the force of your character. You may encounter a commanding presence as well as demanding conditions that assist you to manifest and to expand your own influence. Whatever compels you, You may increase in its appeal so that you may fulfill some of your deepest desires. Tremendous success is possible, especially if you have a passion for whatever you pursue or do so, since this cycle tends to augment the motivating forces of your life. As much as constructive action is an indicator of this time, it is possible that there is a need to tear down what is established. Sometimes to go forward unencumbered requires that you purge whatever is a hindrance to your development. In order to advance, you may have to clear away all that is inessential. On a practical level, you will do well to remodel, retool, or revamp your existing structure. Financial planning. You tend to recognize the need for long term goals no matter what your interest, and you can map effective strategies. Generally, this is a favorable period in your life, although its dynamism can contain forces that occasionally are more than you can control. Extremes in the world around you and in your life can become exaggerated. It's important to have your priorities straight in order to take advantage of the boost that this period can bring. You have an opportunity to understand the heights and the depths that define existence as witnessed from experience rather than from a distance. Now is the time when the transit Jupiter has conjunct Pluto or is conjuncting Pluto from April 4th onwards. Your compassion and sense of idealism is greatly enhanced during this time. You may become involved with projects that serve to help others who are less fortunate than you. You may strive to enlighten or teach the people around you about the true meaning and purpose of life. Or you may be the one in need of a spiritual rebirth and meet someone who helps restore your own faith. You're more concerned with ideals that are higher than your own self centered goals and may begin looking for the truth in belief systems that are more spiritual or metaphysical than traditional religion. But where do we find truth? We often find illusion as the other side of the coin, and evaluating new information can be very tricky during this time, especially in business. You may be tempted to trust the idealistic or glamorized version of a project without testing the merits or questioning other people's motives, leaving you open to be taken advantage of. You must simultaneously pay attention to what I have spoken about Mercury and Neptune, that conjunct, and now Jupiter and Pluto conjunct, which is so together. You may also be tempted to mislead others with the best of intentions, but should avoid it as much as possible, as positive examples of inspiring others through fantasy or deception. You may start acting on stage, create a work of art that's symbolic in nature, or launch a new advertising campaign. If your heart's in the right place, you can achieve a greater level of faith in life now. Just remember to keep one foot firmly planted on the solid earth. So always be realistic. Now, what actually the Jupiter conjunct, which is happening in its first deccan from April 4th onwards, what does it imply? It's a major alignment occurring every 13 years. There is a series of 3 Jupiter-Pluto conjunction occurring in 2020 in Capricorn. So, what does it imply now? That it gives an incredibly strong need to make it big in the world. You want power and influence and make ambitious plans to succeed at the highest levels. Your intense drive and ambition make you determined, persistent, and sometimes ruthless. Setbacks or failures will not discourage you like they do other people. You will see opportunity in every challenge and use the experience to perfect your skills and change your plans. The continual growth and adaptations is your path to personal mastery and prosperity. Consider yourself as a lucky person, but should not take your good fortunes for granted. You should aim to be generous but never greedy. It's important that you act morally and ethically and do not let your power and success go to your head. This aspect has the potential to make you very powerful in very quick time before you have the wisdom and humility to use it safely. So you need to keep it in mind, keep correcting yourself, use your wisdom, you be humble. Wide knowledge and spiritual development are needed because you will amass power and wealth. Never think you're too smart to learn from your teachers. Before you can wield power, you must submit to it. It's okay to be driven, but be mindful of becoming obsessed, fanatical, or self righteous. You have the good fortune and power to make a big difference in the world that can affect many people around you. And trust me, money also follows your desires. You will be richer in every which way if you make friends along the way instead of your enemies. This transit also makes you focused and driven to succeed at whatever you are most passionate about. A mix of intense effort and good luck gives you the power and influence to make a big difference in your life. The result of this transit depends upon your goals, so it is important to think about what you want to do during this prosperous phase of life, or the business success, wealth, travel, a promotion at work, or a better career are just some of the possibilities. It's also important to consider spiritual self development because power and success can easily go to your head. Selfishness, greed, jealousy, or revenge should definitely not be your motivation. Instead, you should want to succeed, so improve your life without harming others or treading on anybody's toes. Your generosity will be repaid and you will make new and influential friends. If you act in a ruthless, extreme, self righteous, or obsessive way, you are likely to face powerful forces acting against you. This could include trouble from superiors, government authorities, or the law. If you act morally and ethically, you will grow spiritually and materially. This should be a time of large scale achievement and success that makes you happy and content well into the future. A little bit of the story that all three Jupiter Pluto conjunctions in 2020 are conjunct asteroid Pallas. Pallas is the maiden name after the Pallas Athena, the goddess of wisdom, courage, just warfare, strategy, and skill. She is associated with creative intelligence and political nous, pattern recognition, and the relationship between father and daughter, as she was born from the head of the Zeus. So you need to understand this. Please, again, pay attention to what I'm saying. Hear me out, and you will realize that your ambition and drive for success are extremely powerful during this time, and the level of sheer physical energy, determination, and optimism you feel needs to be handled very carefully. While there's more potential for success now, you'll have to find more balance in your relationship to partners and associates in order to proceed. And that's what I'd spoken in the Mercury and Neptune. You may wish to completely overthrow existing power structures or reform your environment to achieve your goals, but this will likely cause conflicts with people in power who feel threatened by your actions. You must believe strongly in the righteousness of your plans, which you feel justifies any action you take. But you also run the risk of using your significant powers of persuasions to dominate others in order to elicit their support, which they will not tolerate now because everybody is undergoing this influence of Mercury conjunct Neptune and Jupiter conjuncting Pluto. So the tolerance powers are well within every individual's own personality. If you approach others with an arrogant attitude, they'll certainly resist. And in extreme circumstances, you could find yourself in serious logical or legal difficulties. You should approach all contracts and agreements with caution and avoid useless past struggles. Moderation is not a concept you must embrace now, and your all or nothing attitude could lead to obsessive or ruthless behavior. It's important that you keep your eye on what's the best for the larger situation and avoid acting solely for your own best interests, which is very, very tempting now. You'll find more positive results if you use your personal power in a conscientious way and have respect for the power of other people as well. This is the time of reaping what you have sown. And if you've acted in the best interest of other people in the past, those good deeds will be rewarded now. And whatever you've heard, you must relate it to the present circumstances that we are undergoing now. And trust me, you will find ways and means of how to be happy in the present circumstances, and also develop or form a habit that will keep you much happier and much contented for the future also, because now is the time where the Saturn is actually demanding re-strategize. So paying heed to these two conjuncts, Mercury conjunct Pluto and Mercury conjunct Neptune and Jupiter conjuncting Pluto, is going to pave your way for successes in the future.